So, according to the Institute for Study of Crimes and Consequences of Communism, during the regime, 34,153 Albanians were imprisoned and sentenced for political reasons. 59,009 Albanians were interned in, I'm going to use the word, concentration camps, and 7,000 lost their lives while there. 984 died in prisons, and 308 lost their mental capabilities, so had severe mental health issues caused by their stay. However, the real number is likely to be considerably higher for all of these. At least 5,501 were executed following court proceedings and sentencing. However, thousands more were shot without trial between the years 1944 and 1955, and I would say afterwards, and their names are not included in any archives. As for missing people, the exact number remains unclear, but most estimates hover around the 6,000 mark of people who were killed or died at the hands of the state between 1944 and 1991 and whose bodies were never found. This number is likely to be even higher as many family members fled after 91. They never reported what happened, who was missing, or the person who is missing does not have remaining family members. Now, I asked the head of that institute that provided these statistics, Cello Hodja, about the real number of missing people, if he could be exact, and he told me it's an EU fund generating topic and there are not many missing persons. So this is a direct contradiction to figures cited by international experts from the International Commission for Missing Persons, from the United Nations, from Human Rights Watch. These are organisations which don't get EU funding, by the way, Cello. Also, this here is a list of all of those still missing as of 2022. There is nearly 6,000 names here. The video you're seeing here takes around 12 minutes to scroll all of these names. Now, this makes me very angry. My first guest today is Fezollari, someone who survived the communist regime and has an amazing but very sad story to tell. Welcome to Inside Albania. Thank you for joining me today. We've met before in Barit, and we did an interview in Albanian together, but I wanted to bring you here today to talk in English and to tell me more about your amazing story. So welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much for inviting me in this television, and my pleasure.
Now, you have a very, very amazing story. You have a sad story as well within your family, but can we start? Your family fled Albania's communist regime in 1975 by sailing across Lake Shkodra in a homemade boat. Can you explain a bit more about this story? I mean, okay, let's start with what made your family decide to risk their lives by building a boat to leave Albania at that time?
Before we come to that, our family joined the army to liberate Albania, my father. But after the war, he was very disappointed about the government because they tried to dictate the country and plus tried to put so many people in jail. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they shot the people sent to the camps, and one of them was my father. Soon as he fell in jail, we feel the persecution. Mm-hmm. Then after that, he found the good chance to escape from the country. He left Albania to Yugoslavia. The next day, we were 4 kids, my grandmother and my mother. And they sent us to a camp, concentration camp, mm-hmm. where the Germans used to stay in that camp. And I remember I was only 4 years old. And there I remember 4, 5, 6, until 10 people a day passed away. Because
where was the camp?
The camp was Fushkruja. Mm-hmm. It's an area. It's not far away from Tirana. Then after that, after 3.5 years, we released from there. because change, as soon as Stalin passed away, he had a harsh government, just cooled down, a bit more liberated. Then we went home, but we found home 2 families who rented the place from the government.
So they'd taken your home?
We used to say, yes, in their place. We used to stay on the ground in one room, very
6 people in one room.
Very bad, 6 people. Anyway, when we grew up, very poor, of course. Only mom work in a farm, get only a few dollars a day, just feed only a piece of bread, nothing else. When my brother went on the age 18, he fell in jail because he spoke against the government. Then he fell 13 years in jail. And
In Chafbari.
most of the time, Spach and Chafbari. The most terrible prison in Albania. When he finished the terms of the jail, 1975, the only choice to escape, to survive that harsh life, we decided to escape. Then what we done, we built a boat. And the boat was not from timber, not from steel. Was only a piece of line, plastic. Just cover up the boat with the plastic, not to let the water get in. For 8 years, we went to Yugoslavia. After that, their father, 1 week later, he came from Australia. He was an Australian citizen all the time. And in about 6 weeks, we left Yugoslavia to Australia and lived from that time nearly 50 years.
Your father escaped Albania, and at that time, the communist government would punish the rest of the family for that. So he escaped, but you were punished. That's why you went to prison. Now, if you were caught trying to escape Albania, they probably would have imprisoned you or shot you. So am I right that your family decided, okay, we're going to put explosives in this boat because it's better we do this ourselves than face the humiliation of being executed by the state? Was that the thinking behind that decision?
When our father escaped, we were too young to think about escaping from the harsh regime. But time passed, years passed, and we grew up, as I said. But unfortunately, my brother fell in jail when he was 18. When he served 13 years in jail, come out 1974, 6 months before we escaped, end of 74. Then we decide, die, everyone, or escape and win the liberation life.
But when you got to Montenegro, at the time Yugoslavia, you weren't welcomed as such.
No.
What happened?
Look, because we breached the law, Yugoslavian law. And 3 brothers fell in jail, but they punished us only 3 weeks terms.
And I imagine it was better than Spach.
By that time, our father came from Australia. And he, of course, he paid something to the office.
What was it like? I mean, your father left without the rest of his family. What was it like to meet him again after all those years of being... And everything you guys went to prison. He just left and you went to prison.
Right.
What was it like to come face to face with him after that? I think I'd have questions for him, you know?
Look, we saw our father after 26 years. Wow. I couldn't remember him when I was only 4 years. Only a few small things.
Yes.
But my grandma used to say, hey, your daddy is tall man, is nice looking, blue eyes, and nice hair. And when we saw in jail of Ohrid, we recognize he's her father because his eyes are blue. The hair is the same as her mother say, tall is tall. Then, he fell unconscious when he saw us in jail. And from that time, he got sick. And after about 15 years, he passed away. And he was very young, only 72 years old when he passed away.
And you went to Australia, and you had a life there. And why did you come back to Albania? What made you come back after passing that traumatic experience?
Look, we've had a very comfortable life in Australia. Of course, Australia is the best country in the world. But 1990, not only Albania, but all governments, left-wing governments, communist governments, break that idea of the communists, including Russia. Then we were allowed to come to Albania. Then the first time I've seen, after 17 years, I've seen Albania 1992, May 92. But compared with Australia, still here was very poor. The roads very bad, the houses very bad, the people very, very bad dressed. And unfortunately, I got nervous when I saw that people, kind of people, not people, human beings, but living like animals.
It was not the socialist utopia that Enver Hoxha had professed.
Worse than we left. Worst stuff.
Before we come back to the situation of communism, what did your brother tell you about his time at Spac and at Tafbari?
Look, he always tell about his life in prison. Unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives in Spac and Tafbari. But unfortunately, no one of the people who passed away found the bodies. Because once they passed away, they just put somewhere in the lower ground where the water comes and just take away the bones. And we are investigating there to find something about these people, but unfortunately, it's very hard, very hard to find.
This is a list of people who are still missing after communism. There's nearly 6,000 names here that are scrolling behind us. And it seems that there is no progress towards finding them. But did your brother talk about things like, was he tortured? Did he witness the mistreatment of prisoners and things? Did he talk much about that experience?
Unfortunately, the Democrat government used to take power in 1992. They were not interested to find the bodies of missing people because on that time everything was fresh. The judges were alive, the spies were alive, the informers, the documents were very fresh, right? But they just left abandoned. Not abandon only the dead people, the prison people, but we are 35% of Albanian people persecuted in Albania.
It's a huge amount.
I have the information, I have the documents in my office. Then these people try to create a political party. But unfortunately, they were too hungry with us.
Yes.
Not let us to inform, because not right her name of the party into election ballot. This and now we are only association.
I want to ask you about justice. I was thinking this morning, we have in the Tirana Park, we have a memorial for the Holocaust. We have a memorial for people killed in the attempted coup d'etat in Turkey. We don't have a proper memorial for the victims of communism. And I remember a conversation I had with a former prisoner of Spac, Samir Maloku. And he told me, Alice, the guy who was my guard in prison, who beat people, who tortured people, he gets more pension than me. He said, how is this justice? What's your opinion on this situation? Is there any justice for the victims of the regime?
Unfortunately, we have complained so many times about this. As far as I know, and this is the truth, all ex-communist officers, the policemen, directors of the prison, police force of the in prison, which keep the people in prison.
Yes.
They get a special pension.
Oh, that's lovely for them, isn't it?
And this is not fair at all.
Of course not.
Plus, their pension was good enough compared with our pension. One persecuted person, he gets only 150 euros, maximum 200 euros a month. One policeman, guard, which keep the people in prison,
beat them, tortured them.
Yeah, we have seen that hell, I can say.
Yes.
More than hell. He used to get 350 euros. Now get 550.
So this persecution, this persecution. So during communism, people were persecuted or they were elite, the communist elite, and even in democracy,
even now,
there's still that division. The persecuted get less than the former communist elite.
Look, the people who command this country still the communists are on par. This is the biggest problem. They talk different, but they do different.
And do you know what I think? And we talked about this off air as well. When I talk to people who want to leave Albania, like young people, they often, I find, come from families that were persecuted during the regime. And I think a lot of this situation of mass migration of youth is not just because of the economy or a lack of opportunities. It's because they inherit this anger, this deep disappointment, this resentment, this disconnect from their country, from their parents, from their grandparents. And I think this is what makes a lot of people want to leave, because the former persecuted are still, in many ways, underdogs in many areas of society. They have had lower paid jobs. They haven't had land returned to them or whatever. Has this been your experience as well?
Look, 1990, when dictatorship gone, but gone as idea, not the people. The people, the wealth of this country were in their hands.
Of course.
Do you understand me?
Yes.
Then what they done, they split to everybody who was a member of the Communist Party, and they left us poor and over poor. Now they send the children overseas for school. England, Germany, everywhere, America. And these people, these young people finish the schools there. They come and command not only the government, but even the business and the wealth of Albania. Our kids were not able to go overseas because there is no money, very
They
poor.
couldn't afford, yeah.
And this is the difference which Albania fights. These people fight. And what's happened, the only solution, kids find to go overseas and work overseas somewhere. Then
to make
get
money for the family.
A few more dollars than here. This is the problem.
Do you see any justice ever happening, any sort of closure to the situation? Because, I mean, in my view, it's been 32 years, 33 years. I don't think people want to forget about it now, unfortunately.
I think, as far as I know, the destination of these people is going to be the same. No justice.
No. And we won't find these people either.
If you see that, you have to feel sorry.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But that's a fact. All these people passed away, get killed, get shot, get lost, disappear. The bodies is a crime, more than crime. But unfortunately, no one is interested to find out and to bring justice in this country until now.